This year is a really important year for the United Nations. As you can see, we'll be marking the 70th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations, the signing of the Charter back in 1945 and the entry into force of the Charter. That was the start of the United Nations. We want to look back, of course, over the 70 years to see what achievements there have been, what successes there have been. But really importantly, we need to build for a better future. That's what this is about. If we have a strong United Nations, we can build a better world. That's why in this year, particularly 2015, there's going to be an enormous push to work on the Millennium Development Goals. They run until the end of 2015, and then it will be the turn of the Sustainable Development Goals, the so-called post-2015 development agenda. Big topic for the United Nations this year. You're going to hear from my colleagues the different constituent parts of the United Nations here in Vienna. You're going to hear from them about their priorities, the big events they've got coming up. And you're going to hear a common refrain. There is a thread that runs through what you will hear, and that is sustainable development, how we can build a better world for succeeding generations without damaging the world that we live in now. So listen to what they have to say, and you will hear from the different Vienna-based organizations what's coming up in 2015.
So this is an important year for the UN system in terms of health, sustainable development and rule of law. Drugs, crime and terrorism issues are part of the UNODC's mandate, and during this year we'll be working on several important issues. On the 3rd of March we will celebrate or mark the World Wildlife Day. We'll focus on wildlife crime. In March as well we will have the Commission on Narcotic Drugs, which will be in Vienna, which will begin on the 9th of March and will be the beginning of an international debate on the implementation of the drug control conventions, which has been much debated publicly in many countries. And we expect a high-level session at the beginning with many high-ranking officials, foreign ministers to attend. Following that will be the Crime Congress in Doha, which is a major gathering of NGOs, international organizations and others to meet and discuss and debate crime issues. This year will focus on sustainable development and the rule of law, and it's a key input to the post-MDGs process. Following that, of course, we will have the usual Crime Commission in May, and then in June, on the 26th of June, will be World Drug Day, where the World Drug Report will be launched. And this year will focus on sustainable development in terms of alternative livelihoods, giving people who formerly grew drug crops an alternative to their livelihoods. And then just before the summer, or during the summer, on the 30th of July, we'll be celebrating the World Anti-Trafficking Day, human trafficking.
For the IAEA 2015 will be very much focused as last year on the Iran nuclear issue, and as the Director General said last week, the future will be very much dependent on a deal that is under discussion between the E3+3 and Iran. But the IAEA is not only the nuclear watchdog, it is also an agency very much focused on technical cooperation and the development of nuclear technologies in the developing countries. With regard to the Ebola crisis, the IAEA has helped in the past months to provide nuclear-derived diagnosis kits to key affected countries, and it is now developing a wider project, medium-term project, to help prevent the outbreak of such diseases. And among other key elements of this year, we have the Fukushima report, the IAEA Fukushima report. The IAEA focused some time ago to provide to its member states an exhaustive picture of what happened and the lesson learned. That will be delivered before September to the member states. In June there will be also a very interesting technical conference on cybersecurity in the nuclear world, and that could be also of interest for interested journalists. In October I can also mention a conference on emergency preparedness, which is also of interest in the wake of the Fukushima accidents and the way stakeholders, governments, operators react.
2015 2015 is an important year for the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. First, I want to mention a couple of infamous anniversaries that we will be marking this year. 16th of July is the 70th anniversary of the first ever nuclear test, Trinity test in the Nevada desert. And then, of course, in August we will also be commemorating the 70th anniversary of the nuclear bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That, together with the International Day Against Nuclear Tests on August 29th, will be good opportunities to remind the world of the dangers of nuclear testing and to say never again to nuclear testing. Two events I would like to mention is our Science and Technology Conference. This is a conference that happens every other year. This year it will be at the end of June here in Vienna at the Hofburg. We are expecting over 500 scientists from a wide range of disciplines. And finally, at the end of September, we will be having our, again, every other year conference on the entry into force of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, our so-called Article 14 conference, happening at the end of September in New York.
This year, UNIDO is offering its full support and following very closely the discussion of the post-2015 development agenda. As you probably know, the Open Working Group has put forward 17 possible sustainable development goals, which will be finalized later this year. And goal number 9 talks about inclusive and sustainable industrialization, which is the key theme of UNIDO's mandate as well. We are also having a range of different events. The most important of them this year will be the Vienna Energy Forum, which will be held in June. And later on this year, in November, December, UNIDO will have its general conference.
So 2015 is going to be an absolutely crucial year for the Sustainable Energy for All initiative. As you probably know, we work as a catalyst to rally action simultaneously on 2 fronts. That is to fight climate change and also to fight energy poverty, which is a huge barrier to social and economic development. And in doing so, we're a sort of umbrella initiative bringing together the private sector with the public sector and civil society. The backdrop to all this for us is that in September, of course, there will be the UN Summit on the adoption of the post-2015 development agenda. And for the first time, this is crucial for us, we really hope to include energy as its own sustainable development goal. Then in December, we've got COP21 coming up. This is the climax of the global climate change negotiations. So against that backdrop, the Sustainable Energy for All initiative is looking at 2 really important events. First of all, in May, we've got the second Sustainable Energy for All Forum happening in New York. At the same time, we also will be having a global ministerial energy dialogue, which will be the first time that that's really been convened. Then, just a month later, in Vienna, we will be taking a major part in the Vienna Energy Forum. This is hosted by UNIDO and the Austrian Foreign Ministry, and they're partnering with Sustainable Energy for All and with IAEA. And a particular focus for us at that meeting will be energy efficiency, and particularly promoting a new initiative for us, the Global Energy Efficiency Accelerator Platform.
So, as you can see, a really busy year for the United Nations 2015. You'll find out more about the work of the United Nations here in Vienna and indeed around the world in our handbook for journalists. It's available in hard copy, but importantly, you can also see this and read it online. You'll find that there are details of all of the big events that are coming up and contact information for the different organizations that are based here in Vienna.